now for the rest of the time are a pretty princess.
Yeah, I mean, I had major TDS.
I think both sides have failed this country and the people in it.
What's up, everybody? My name is Amir Odom, and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we will be discussing a recent middle ground episode from Jubilee titled Former Conservatives versus Formal Liberals. Personally, I thought this discussion was very interesting because I myself am a formal liberal. I'm more center right now, but I did have a big wake-up call leaving the left and going more towards the right. So it was really cool to see other people's stories that were similar to mine, and then vice versa, seeing all the people who were conservative but left to become liberal. So in this video, we're going to recap and discuss some of the key moments from this episode.
My former political views were cult-like.
Carrie, a former liberal, spoke a lot about this and how, you know, when you're on the left, you're less encouraged to look out for different viewpoints or hear different perspectives.
If you had questions, you had to check your privilege, or there was always some line that they would use to get you to stop asking questions, which is sort of cult-like. And then the other thing was there's this encouragement to separate from people who didn't agree with you.
You're more so just trapped in your little box. And I speak a lot about this in my own experience growing up Black and gay. I was always told that Republicans were racist and homophobic, and that because I'm gay, I have to align myself with all the LGBTQ plus initiatives, and that because I'm Black, I have to support Black Lives Matter. And the second I didn't, now I suffer from internalized homophobia and I'm being called an Uncle Tom. It's literally cult-like behavior, trapping people into these mental thought boxes, and they have to abide by these set rules and guidelines, and if they don't, they're kicked out the club. Like, all because I'm broadening my viewpoint and asking questions, all of a sudden I'm even losing friends. And even Emily talked about this.
I have never cut off a person because of their political beliefs in my life, but everyone on the left did it to me.
And it's so true, and it's sad because that's what's wrecked me the most throughout this whole process of, you know, leaving the left, going more towards the right, and discovering new ideas and perspectives. It's that I lost a lot of my friends that I thought I had just for thinking differently. And honestly, those aren't really friends. I'm glad they're gone. Do I have friends to this day that I disagree with politically? Of course, but there's always one of two things that happens. One, we agree to disagree on certain topics and we move on about our day. Or two, we have a calm and rational discussion. If someone is disagreeing with you, talking over you, berating you, those aren't really your friends. Friends should be able to just have very candid and honest conversations calmly. And if they can't agree to disagree, then they just aren't meant to be in your life. And you know, that's okay. Some people are just meant to be stepping stones and for you to learn from them and then move on. And the wild part about all of this is that when I think back to those times of waking up and broadening my perspective and losing all these friends, the only people willing to have an actual conversation with me for the most part was people on the right. They were always the ones willing to talk to me, show me a different perspective, show me different YouTube videos. That they weren't even pushing it on me. It was more so, hey, here's the things that I look at, take it as you may. And all of this isn't to say that the right can't be culty too. When it comes to Trump, certain religious beliefs, it's definitely there. They have cultish-like behaviors, but it's not as aggressive or threatening, I guess. Like, especially when you start talking about cancel culture and being more free in your expression, it's the left mainly that's canceling people and getting mad and upset at every little thing.
Changing sides was traumatic.
Most definitely. Like I mentioned before, changing sides really took a toll on my mental health. And Javen, the Black guy that's a former liberal, he spoke on this too.
I've grown on the belief, that Black people are systematically oppressed, and that does a lot for a young person's perspective. And when I started to, listen to the other side and I started to dismantle that within myself, I felt like my whole life was really a lie.
And he's right. I felt like my entire life was a lie. I felt like everything I was being taught, told, and pushed from things I was watching on CNN, seeing on Twitter, my friends, different clubs, I felt like it was all a lie. Like, the more I looked into community crime rates, Black on Black crime, police brutality, border crisis, everything, the more I sat back and I was just shook at, one, what I was learning, but two, how much I was misled. And not even just that, but honestly, being transparent, just how much I didn't even know. Looking back, I was so just distraught and so just emotionally everywhere regarding politics because I had no grounding. I really didn't understand how I felt. I didn't have my own viewpoints because I was constantly being told how and what to think, and that's how I was just led. I didn't think for myself at all, and it's honestly embarrassing how passionate I was back then, but I didn't know a damn thing. It was brutal starting over from scratch and relearning everything and looking into all sides and all perspectives, but as brutal as it was, as hard as that was to do, I'm so glad I did it, and I encourage everyone to, because now I know where I stand on certain topics. I needed to be grounded. I needed to understand why I really felt the way I felt about certain things. Instead of being told how to think, I shut all that down and decided, I'm going to think for myself, research everything, and go after it for myself. As terrifying and as brutal as all that was, in the midst of fear, facts are your friends. So as you're on your own personal journey, wherever you may be, politically homeless, more on the left, more on the right, The facts are your friends. Seek out the facts and accept the truth for what it is. Hell, I talk about this in another video, but I literally went from marching in the streets with BLM crying within a year to being invited to the White House and shaking hands with Donald Trump. That took a lot mentally to do, but I had to let go of everything and allow myself to just be an open vessel to look at all sides, hear all new perspectives, and come up to own conclusion for myself. Yes, I'm more center right now, but I'm still allowing myself to grow and learn, and I don't know everything. I will never claim to know everything. I know where I stand, but if I learn some new things or things may change, I'm always willing to be flexible and allow myself to grow. Forever and always, I will try to put myself as close to the truth as I can.
I am still aligned with certain policies from my former political beliefs.
The way they phrased this question was a little bit weird to me, because if I'm aligned with certain beliefs, then I've always been aligned with them. It's not really a former belief. They're current. I'm not 100% lib, I'm not 100% conservative, and truly not a lot of us are. Where a lot of us do have multiple different views, some left, some right, and that's okay. As far as liberal things I'm still holding on to, there's gay marriage, gay adoption, abortion rights, climate change, welfare programs, regulations for businesses. Like, I'm a little lefty on a couple of different topics, but to me, they're just basic things. Like, they're not super far left. I don't know. I do feel politically homeless a lot of the times, and I'm sure you all can resonate with this, because I feel like I'm not enough for the left, but then sometimes I'm not enough for the right. So for me personally, I'm just going to claim this little gray area that wants tighter border security, lots of guns, less overseas spending, weed and shrooms, gay marriage, gay adoption, climate efforts, and actual health care, not sick care.
Democrats are more compassionate than Republicans.
Yes and no. Emotionally, the left is more compassionate if you agree with them. If you agree with the left, they're so loving and accepting and comforting. They'll throw everything at you. They're there for it. And that goes back to how we were talking in the beginning with this cult-like behavior. If you're in the club and you stand for everything that they're saying, they love you tenfold. Like, I remember being back in college and I joined my Black Student Union group because I wanted to have actual conversations talking about the Black community and how we can help advance us as a culture. And one time we were having a discussion about Black stereotypes in the media, and specifically we were talking about the show Boondocks, which is one of my all-time favorite shows. And they were talking about how the Boondocks is always making jokes about Black culture and Black people, and I was the only one sitting there like, okay, are they wrong? I was getting so many weird looks and pushback because everybody was like, yes, it's wrong. They're portraying the Black community in the wrong light, all these harmful stereotypes and prejudices, and I'm like, they got it from somewhere. Like, they aren't just making this up. A lot of this is real in how we are acting in the streets. Like, the second you even remotely disagree with anyone on the left, boom, that compassion goes out the window. They're not compassionate at all, and in fact, it can turn very spiteful. It's all just performative. The left always talks about how loving and accepting they are, party of equality, this is and that, but they don't act like it. It's only if you agree with what they're saying, then they're happy with you. And if you anything remotely not left, all of a sudden you're hateful, bigoted, transphobic, homophobic, racist. The list goes on. It's insane. And then the right, they're more compassionate if you disagree. They're more likely to sit down with you, have a conversation, share links, share videos, and actually just discuss the other side with you. When I was going through this process of moving from the left to the right, it was those on the right willing to have actual and real honest conversations. And when I was talking to those on the left, I never really got to have conversations because they're just so hurt. And how could I ever go against human lives? How can I be so racist? How can I be so homophobic? They were so I feel like it goes back to how I was, where they were just so lost in the sauce, lost in their own, what they thought they believed. And to the point they're only just regurgitating headlines and talking points, but they can't have an honest conversation because they don't even know where they stand. There's no moral grounding. There's nothing. There's no substance. There's no real authentic feelings. Are there for some people on the left? For sure. But there are a lot of people who are on the left and who are Democrats just because that's what you're supposed to be. That's what's common. That's what's mainstream. That's what you're just supposed to do. So they don't even know why they believe the things they believe or why they stand where they stand because they're just so used to just being told how to think. All the way to the point where they can't even have an honest conversation with someone. And now politically, the left and the right, they're both compassionate in their own ways. The left is more let's help people, and the right is more let's help people help themselves. The left shows compassion by wanting open borders to help people fleeing their home countries for a new opportunity and a new life. And the right shows compassion by wanting tighter border security no illegal immigration so that they can focus on the issues at home, like all the homelessness and fentanyl crisis. There's definitely a middle ground to be discussed here, and there's a lot of opportunity for growth and new ideas if everybody just stopped bickering and actually had fruitful conversations. And then a topic that was discussed briefly, Hunter brought it up. It had nothing to do with the prompt, but it was the topic about pronouns. Hunter stepped up and said that conservatives are quick to get triggered and get offended at people using pronouns.
Conservatives get offended by pronouns. They got offended by Mr. Potato Head. They get offended by all
I
kinds.
agree. Really stupid things.
Yeah, they get very triggered also. And for me, when I left the right, that was something I noticed.
But Javen pushed back and made a good point in that it's not that people on the right are concerned about the pronouns. They're concerned more about them mandating that we respect and call them by the pronouns that they're wanting. So that's a big difference. I have no care how you refer to yourself as. If you want to be called pumpkin spice, you call yourself pumpkin spice. But you're not going to mandate that I have to call you pumpkin spice. That's what you're not going to do. And that's what the right is saying. They don't want this mandated speech. They want free speech. They want to say what they want to say. And you're not going to sit here and tell me that you look like a full-blooded woman and me calling you she, now I'm hateful? No. And then Emily jumped in, and that's when she said this.
My pronouns now for the rest of the time are pretty princess.
That's not a pronoun.
Which I'm so glad she did say that, because then of course you had Hunter saying those aren't real pronouns. Says who? Who defines the rules? Who mandates what? Who says pumpkin spice aren't pronouns? Because clearly they are.
Today I'm going to show you how to use pumpkin spice pronouns in sentences, so let's go!
Clearly people use them. Zers, all these neo-pronouns, like these are a thing, so who decides what and what not is offensive? That's why we should just go for free speech. That's where I land. Overall, this Jubilee conversation was a cool one. There wasn't a lot of drama. There weren't really a lot of debates. It was more just people telling their story. And it was a shorter episode. It was like 35 minutes or something. So definitely on the shorter side for Jubilee. But regardless, I did enjoy it. It was cool hearing the perspective of different people. And if you want to watch it, the link is below. But those are my key highlights and moments. And I want to share my story as well, because being someone who was formerly on the left, that is more on the right, I had to come and share and just talk to you guys about that. So with that being said, thank you for taking the time to watch this video. I appreciate your love and support a ton. We were at 130,000 subscribers, which I started this channel this year, and this is where we're at now. It's insane. So thank you for sharing the content. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for being a friend. As always, for the people who are still watching, drop a cloud emoji below. Let me know that you're here. Let me know any topic suggestions, ask a question, whatever you want. That's how I filter out and make sure to actually pay attention to your comments. So if you're here, leave a cloud emoji and I got you. And as always, I hope that you're going out there becoming the best version of yourself. You know that you can and it will achieve anything you put your mind to. Just focus on you, yourself, your own goals and dreams, and you can do that. So with that being said, I love you guys a ton and I will see you in the next video. Deuces.